Alex lived in the city, a place where success was often measured by the approval of others. On the outside, he seemed to have it all: a stable job, a wide circle of friends, and the respect of his colleagues. Yet inside, he felt an emptiness that he couldn't shake off. His life revolved around others' opinions, their expectations, and his constant fear of making mistakes. He was always searching for the next sign of validation, thinking that if he could just be perfect enough, everything would fall into place. But the more he chased others' approval, the more he lost sight of who he really was. Alex compared himself to others, feeling lesser every time he didn't measure up to their standards. He was trapped in an endless cycle of self-doubt and anxiety. One evening, as Alex wandered through the park, he noticed a quiet corner filled with trees and an old, weathered bench. For the first time in a long while, he sat down, letting the silence envelop him. In that stillness, memories of his past struggles began to surface. He remembered times when he had bent over backward for people, only to be met with criticism and indifference. No matter how hard he tried to please them, some people never seemed satisfied. Slowly, it dawned on him. It wasn't his job to fit into everyone else's mold. He had spent years looking for the good in people, hoping they would appreciate him. But in doing so, he had overlooked one important thing: his own worth. Alex realized that life wasn't about finding the perfect way to make everyone happy. It was about choosing the right people to have around him. It was about setting boundaries, learning to say no without guilt, and letting go of those who drained his energy. He started to understand that he had been carrying the burden of others' expectations while neglecting his own needs and desires. From that day, Alex made a conscious decision to change his approach to life. He began to surround himself with those who uplifted him, rather than those who constantly sought to bring him down. He embraced the idea that every mistake he made was not a sign of failure, but a lesson in growth. The more he focused on his own path, the less he worried about how others perceived him. He learned that his happiness didn't rely on others' validation. It came from within, by accepting himself, flaws and all, and by making choices that aligned with his inner peace. As Alex grew more comfortable with who he was, the opinions of others started to matter less. He no longer feared making decisions that were right for him, even if they went against what others expected. In time, the emptiness he once felt began to fade, replaced by a sense of contentment. He discovered that true happiness was not about being perfect or meeting everyone else's standards. It was about living for himself, embracing his imperfections, and knowing that his worth was not up for debate.